On paper where the story's told, facts and truth, the legend grows. Lionheart's here with fire to spit. It's on paper with Anthony Smith.
With Anthony Smith. Welcome back to On Paper. I'm Kelly Murphy. More importantly, that is my co-host, former UFC light heavyweight, the ultimate girl dad, and of course, my better half, Anthony Lionheart Smith. Anthony, I would ask how you are, and I certainly care, but what I want to know more is how many times have you mowed the lawn since our last podcast? Because those dad sneakers look like a Little League baseball uniform. Grass stains, beat up.
That's what I'm talking. You know what? I'm glad we're starting with this. So I've been pretty private in my my personal life for the most part, most of my career. I never post my family. I don't really post my day-to-day life too much. But post-career, that seems to be the thing that people want to see more of. And now I got less content because I'm not doing as much fighting and all of that stuff, obviously. And so this has been like a real funny ongoing joke, like amongst my friend group and my wife's, ongoing saga of my post-retirement activities. So I mowed in the dad, the get off my lawn sevens, my dad's shoes. Finally got that, that first coat of green grass stains on the dad's shoes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that funny picture on my Instagram. Do you see my dog laying down in the backyard before I mowed like he was in the Serengeti?
It's literally a jump scare every time I open Instagram and I see your icon. I'm like, oh God, like he's posted again. What is he doing?
I know. I never really I don't post that much.
Don't.
So, yeah,
so when I see it, I'm like, yesterday I had seen whatever you posted first. And then I saw your icon again. And I was like, didn't I already look at his story? And then I clicked it and I was like, oh, it's a new one.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. I went Jose Aldo, Frenchie in the Nebraska Serengeti, and then dad shoes. Yeah.
Those things are broken in.
I'm saying, listen, you guys are going to keep getting updates of the dad shoes and the grass stains too. Probably going to be getting some golf videos here pretty soon. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm just going to show a little bit more of my day-to-day life.
There you go. Well, I mean, you should.
And if you don't mention my jacket on Saturday night, we're going to have problems.
Okay. I liked it.
Okay, good.
I loved it. I thought it was very cool. I always say you dress very well. I think there were mixed feelings about this jacket.
Really? I've only seen positive.
You see, I think it's your post-retirement mentality. Every time I tell you there's been negativity, you're like, what? Didn't see it. I'm like,
Didn't see it.
Me?
I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Jacket was fire.
The jacket was really cool.
The shitty part about that jacket is you can only really wear that once on TV. That's a one and done. That's a one and done. That's okay.
If you're not wearing it on TV, where else would you wear that jacket?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Fucking to the bar down the street.
Oh, to your little hometown Nebraska dive bar?
Yeah, why not? You can wear that thing anywhere.
You know what? I believe you, which is the sad part.
Yeah. Do you tell your mom Happy Mother's Day for me?
I can now. Will
you tell her happy? I know I didn't. I probably should have told you that on Mother's Day, but
considering it's Monday, yeah.
Yeah. Tell Miss Jackie happy belated Mother's Day.
You got it. Mother's Day is a weird one for me because I'm at the age where I probably should have a child, and people that I know do. So I got my nails done
first.
I got my nails done 2 days before because this is what's most important to me. And my nail lady was like, "Are you a mother?" I was like,
"Yeah, you should." I don't know if you know this. Right, you should try to find one of those babies to come with a husband.
Yeah, I mean that's the plan.
Yeah, you should work on that.
Doing my best. The ongoing saga here.
It's not good enough, apparently.
Clearly not. Not.
Does it bother your mom?
More.
I need to interview Miss Jackie. That's what.
It's more my dad.
We need to get Miss Jackie on here.
Why are you calling her Miss Jackie?
I don't know. I just like to call her that.
I hate.
It's like a respectful thing I do. Like older people, you just say Miss or Mister. Like Mr. Ratner, Mark Ratner. Everyone else calls him Mark. I've always called him Mr. Ratner, even to his face.
I believe it. You're well mannered for.
I try to be. For what?
Boy.
Okay.
What? What did you think I was going to
I don't know,
say?
something disrespectful.
I'm not a disrespectful
Okay,
person.
let's get on here before I just keep talking shit.
Yes. Okay. So you bring up the jacket. You obviously work the desk. Let's
Mhm.
talk Montreal. How were the vibes before we get into the main event?
Vibes were good. Vibes were good. Montreal's I'm a foodie. I think
Mhm.
everyone's probably figured that out at this point, but there's a lot of really cool like food spots and spots to have a drink. Um, Canada, and maybe it's not just Canada, but I've just noticed it a lot more in Canada. They have these really nice restaurants that turn into like a little bit of a club kind of bar vibe. Miami has a bunch of them too,
Mhm.
but I've noticed in Montreal and in Toronto, a lot of the very, very nice restaurants, they bring the lights down, at like 10 or 10:30, the lights come down, the music turns up a little bit, and all the tables and stuff stay the same. It's just the vibe changes a little bit.
Completely different ambiance.
I really enjoy those type of places because I'm not like a big club person. Um, it's not typically my vibe, but I do like the dinner spot that turns up a little bit. I can enjoy that. So
100%. Couple of Moscow mules.
right, Montreal's got a lot
Rolling.
of those. So the fans were out all week or all week long. It was, I can always tell like the excitement
Yeah.
um of the event and how like, kind of epic and crazy it's gonna be by the vibe of the fans the
Yep.
couple days before. And they were fired up. Like Thursday, they were going insane already. So it was great. It was great. Canada turns up again. It was a good vibe.
Yeah. Canada usually shows out and they
It was
got a
cold and
great main
rainy the whole
event.
time though. That sucked.
Really?
Yeah, it was cold and rainy the whole time.
Is that a Canada thing? Is it cold and
No,
rainy or
that's
no?
abnormal. That's
Okay.
according to my Uber driver. So because that's what I bitched about every
Where
time I
you get
got
the
an
best
Uber.
info, the
That's
Uber drivers.
that's where you get the local information is from the Uber
100%.
drivers for sure.
100%. Well, all right. Well, weather sucked. Main event did not.
Fire.
On paper, no pun intended, didn't love this fight. It was far more exciting than I thought that it was going to be. Jack Della Maddalena looked amazing. In my opinion, came down to the takedown defense. Bilal only got 3 of 9. His first one came in the 4th round, which was the only round he won across the board on all 3
Mhm.
judges' scorecards. I think that made all the difference. But what did you see in this main event?
To answer your question, I had a lot of questions. Like I know that the Canelo hands thing was a funny gimmick, but I didn't for a second believe it. Um, the takedowns came way later than they should have.
Mhm.
The Bilal typically fights at a really fast pace. He fights with a lot of pressure. He's attacking the takedowns early and often. He mixes the martial arts better than a lot of people. He's got a really good blend of when he's punching up high. He blends it into the takedown. If he's not in tight enough, he'll always bail on it, strike again, and then go back to it and get another big bite. He didn't do any of that. He didn't wrestle at like the third and fourth level where you'll grab a single, off balance it, switch off to the double, then back to the single, then go to the body lock to take the back. He did none of that. And again, a lot of those things, just to be clear to everyone listening, a lot of those things could have been Jack. Those could have been things that Jack was just able to deal with so easily. Um, Bilal looked flat. He looked uninterested.
Yep.
He fought it at JDM's pace. After the first round, I remember I was had the headset on and I was watching it and kind of talking through the fight as I typically do with the co-main and main event. And I'm usually like talking to the people back in Bristol, and we're actually just having like a regular conversation about the fight. But they like to hear kind of my thoughts as the fight is going, like what I'm thinking. And I remember looking at Brett Okamoto and said, Jack Della Maddalena could fight at this pace for the next hour and a half.
It looked like it.
At that, he was for whatever reason. I don't know if that was on purpose, and that's the pace that Bilal wanted to fight at, or if Jack was able to just slow it down to his type of pace with his type of rhythm. But he fought exactly where Jack Della Maddalena wants to stay for his entire career. If you let him, he doesn't. He likes to he pokes and prods and switches stances and glides across your face and will punch a couple. He'll throw a 1-2, but switch stance, rip a kick, and it's not a whole lot of impactful stuff. And then he goes the fuck off for 3, 4, 5 punches, and then gets right back to touching if he hasn't hurt you. And he can do that as long as you need him to do that. You got to pull him. If you're Belal, you got to pull him out of that rhythm. But Jack was so comfortable so quickly. And when he started clowning Belal, like Belal threw a spinning back fist like a country mile away, and then Jack spun, kind of making fun of him, and then Jack gets in on a takedown. Like it was a masterful performance by Jack Della Maddalena. But I'm not going to take anything away from Jack because I think everything he did was absolutely perfect. It was spot on. I thought that he leveled up and fought at a championship level that we didn't even know he was capable of. He could have fought at the level that we've seen him at before and still won, and leveled up far past that. It was
He wasn't
impressive.
even supposed to be in this fight.
No.
This was supposed to be Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Let's not forget he did a 6-week training camp for Leon Edwards, which is a totally different stylistic matchup. So it's not like he's been preparing for this for 15 weeks or something. Like he had to completely everything they decided they were going to do with Leon Edwards is in the fucking trash. None of that has anything to do with Belal.
Yeah.
So they had to completely reset, regroup, do a completely different type of training camp. There's nothing you could take from what they would use against Leon Edwards that you can use against Belal Muhammad. There's nothing.
Polar opposites.
They couldn't be further apart. So for him to do that, again, I felt like this whole weekend was really in my feelings. Just about, I think I was just really tuned into the emotional part and in the feelings part of fighting. So like that alone, just having to scrap everything and then fight a guy that's a stylistic nightmare for you it's inspiring. There was a lot of inspiring things that happened, and watching Jack Della Maddalena was one of them. But I equally felt bad for Belal because he does catch a lot of shit, and he was just starting to get a little bit of recognition. He was starting to get a little bit of respect. Maybe people aren't always going to be super high on him and like him for whatever reason, but they're starting to respect him. Even people that didn't like him are starting to pick him. And they're starting to say, listen, maybe I don't like this guy. Maybe I don't like his style. Maybe I don't like watching it, but he's good. And he beat this guy, and he was just about to crest that fucking mountain of getting everyone's respect. And then he leaves, and you see those videos of 100 people at the exit screaming, "Belal, you suck, Belal." And I just felt for him.
It just
sucks.
I want to get back to Jack.
You go from being the champion of the fucking world to people screaming you suck in 25 minutes.
But even as champ, he caught a lot of flack. And it just always felt really unwarranted. He quietly went on this fantastic win streak. Only little blip in the radar was the no contest to Leon Edwards, in which he avenged and won the title. He's a good talker. He does a lot of media. He understands the importance of media and
right,
talking to the fans and doing all of the things that a high-level fighter should. And people still hate him. He certainly isn't the flashiest guy on the roster by any means.
I don't like his style. Some of that is because I hate fighting guys that fight that style.
Yeah.
It's not aesthetically pleasing to me. But as an analyst, I have gone on and on and on about how hard it is to fight the way that Jack fights, or the way that Belal fights. It's a really hard fucking way to make a living. There's nothing easy about it. It's hard-nosed, it's grimy, it's gritty, everything fucking hurts when you're done. It's a terrible training camp. It's even if you go in and you fight a 3-round decision and then you don't look that bad, I'm telling you, Belal was on the couch struggling for days afterwards because of the style he chooses to fight. So I've never said that I don't respect his skill and his abilities and what he brings to the table. It's just not that much fun to watch sitting on your couch with a beer in your hand. The only real, I guess, knock I would have on Belal is that he knows how aesthetically pleasing his fight style isn't at times, but then gets so angry that people don't want to watch it. Like John Fitch didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He went in, he took people down, he grinded them. It was like he was like a wet blanket on top of people. And then afterwards he'd say, "Fuck you, stop it then. Do something about it." You guys don't like it? Find someone that can beat it. And then we eventually did. It was GSP and whatever. But he fought his way all the way to a title fight like that. Beat everybody in the world with that style and a big middle finger and fuck you. And eventually people loved him for it. And I think if Belal would have almost turned heel a little bit with like kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, I mean, look at Merab.
I think he kind of did, though.
Look at Merab. Merab fights with a very similar style, a little more fast-paced, but because that's a weight class thing, he can fight at a higher pace.
Of course.
Because of his size. If you look at, I don't know, who else fought with that style? GSP, but GSP was also hated for a little while for the exact same thing. And that's what I mean. I felt so bad for Belal because he was just about to crest there. Like he was just there. Because eventually people get to the point where they say, okay, fuck it. I just have to deal with it. We got to find a way to like him because he's not going anywhere because he's fucking beating everybody. Like, Jack Della Maddalena would have been that guy. If he would have been able to do it a little more excitingly, push the pace a little bit, get the win, that might have been the guy, And so he was so close.
Yeah, but then you come out of Saturday night. It was an exciting fight. It wasn't your typical Belal fight.
It was a great fight.
Great fight. And he lost. So it's like you all got what you wanted. And people are now.
And he had a gritty performance. Like he's got balls. Like he's got balls.
Showed tremendous
dude will bite on his fucking mouthpiece and throw down if he has to.
And then I'm seeing Belal Muhammad, worst champion in UFC history. It's like all of you guys got what you wanted on Saturday. What is the point of this?
Why are we shitting on him? Yeah,
right.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Couldn't be happier for Jack Della and his team and his coaches and Craig Jones and everybody. I was so happy for them, but also I'm human and I very much feel for Belal, and I would love to talk to him and just pick his brain, see what he sees, what he's thinking. Totally understand that he's not probably willing to. He ain't trying to fucking come on here. He don't want to talk to me, but I figured it was worth a try. But I thought overall Jack winning solved a lot of problems.
Did it?
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Jack Della Maddalena just created 5 fights that can carry 5 different cards by themselves.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about because I don't like said fights it created.
I think Islam Makhachev, if you would have said that a year ago, I would have said you're fucking crazy and I don't want to watch it. Saturday night, I was like, I really kind of want to watch Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev fight because I'd love to see where that fucking goes. Plus, that's another human element. Islam's had 2 opportunities he's had twice where he's beaten another champion in a division, but he doesn't get 2 titles for that. It seems unfair that he keeps being in these super fights, fighting the guy that keeps coming up from 145 pounds and doesn't get 2 belts. He beats another champion in another division, but only gets 1 title for it when they have an opportunity to get 2. I want him to have the ability to be a double champ. I think that's only fair because he's given the opportunity twice to someone else. So
you'd rather see Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev rather than seeing Jack take on any of the other plethora of 170ers that could fight for a title.
For sure.
And Islam Makhachev fight anybody else at 155.
No question.
I couldn't disagree with you more. Who
the fuck is going to beat Islam at 155? And I'm not going to knock Charles because everybody knows my absolute love for Charles Oliveira. I'm not going to knock Gaethje because, again, I absolutely love Gaethje. But if we're talking about serious threats where you can look at that fight and say, I don't know, could be close. It's a really tight fight. Do you have anyone at 155 pounds that comes to your mind?
What about Topuria?
That's another 45er. That's not fair.
Oh, it's not? I mean, he's only defended the title 4 times, twice against Volkanovski, who's coming up from 145. It's not like he's cleared out 155.
I'm not saying that he cleared it out. I'm saying who do you feel like is actually going to be able to sell a fight that there's a chance that, because that's what sells fights. It's the illusion that this person can lose. Who is that person at 155 pounds? Where you say, that's the fucking guy. That's the guy that's going to beat Islam. That's the fucking guy.
I think a lot of times name value sells fights too.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely to a point.
And there's a lot of name value at 155.
Okay, take the name value out of it. Who are the
why,
analysts?
Why do I have to take the name value out of mine?
Who are the analysts saying Okay, we can make this argument with Gaethje too. How many title shots does that guy get?
It's a great point.
And
But
again,
still, he continues to
I
work his
love
way
Gaethje.
back to those title shots.
I love Gaethje, and he has worked his way back to that. But and I want Gaethje to get a title fight. I think that this actually puts us in a situation where Gaethje may find himself in an interim situation. But
I don't think so. Would it not be Charles
in
Topuria?
Topuria, possibly.
I think
Possibly.
Gaethje's the odd man out.
Who was Charles's last fight?
Mike Chandler. He's 2-2 in his last 4. Losses to Islam and Arman, wins against Benil.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah. I forgot about that. I mean, he could be the odd man out for sure. It's a possibility, but I think that Gaethje has a great stake to finding himself in an interim situation. I just really love the Jack Della Maddalena Islam fight because it's different. It's got big fight feels, and I found myself thinking, man, Jack is big.
Mm-hmm.
Is Islam moving up a weight class? Belal wasn't even close on a lot of those takedowns.
Yep.
I felt like Poirier made it tough at times. I know he got kind of 50-45 up to the point he got finished, but he was able to get up off the ground. He defended some takedowns. He was able to land some shots. He was able to cut Islam. Like he was able to push Islam. And so I just thought like, okay, well maybe Jack Della Maddalena is like a bigger, stronger, younger, maybe better version of Poirier, which makes it interesting. I really want to watch Topuria Oliveira or Topuria Gaethje. I think that's interesting as shit. That really, really asses out Sean Brady and Ian Gary. And if I want to be honest with you guys, I don't want to see either one of those guys in a title fight. I want to see them two fools fight each other.
We've also got Shavkat too waiting in the wings whenever he's recovered from injury.
They say the Shavkat's not going to fight till deep into 2026.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, he's hurt. I think he had another shoulder surgery.
Got it.
I think, or a very invasive one. Which is fairly recent. So he's deep into 2026. So he's kind of out of the mix for now.
And
but Ian Gary, Sean Brady is a great fight.
1000%.
And that solves all this weird problem because
it's not really a weird problem. It's just rightful contenders. What if Joaquin Buckley picks up a big win?
Now you fucked around and got yourself in a pretty deep division right now because now there's 3 guys that are right there that can argue. Oh yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Deep division. Let's bring up the 155 champ to fight.
That's what I'm talking about. It
makes no sense.
If it makes dollars, it makes sense. What you talking about?
I hate it, and I hate it in the sense of, will I be watching both fights?
Well, you want to watch Jack Della Maddalena versus one of those welterweights versus Islam?
Over Islam?
Yeah.
I do, and because I want Islam to fight the other guys at 55. I'm not saying I'm going to buy both fights.
Well, I mean, 2 of those 55ers that we're talking about, Islam's already beat. Not 2, 1.
Yeah. He hasn't beat Gaethje or Topuria if they put Topuria in the title fight.
Right.
Yeah, Anthony, because he's only defended his title twice against lightweights.
That's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
And listen,
here's what happens is he beats somebody and then they beat a bunch of people and then those people are stuck not getting a title shot. That's what happened that's how Poirier ended up there.
Do I think Islam starches probably everybody at 55 right now? I do. Am I going to happily
why are we going to
make
him do it right now before he moves up?
Because there are fights to be had at 55 and 70, respectively.
Oh, okay.
We're just not going to agree on it.
We're not going to agree.
What we are going to agree on is we'll both happily watch both fights.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I will be sacked for both.
I suppose Jack did a lot of favors for the UFC. That's great. That's great problems for the UFC because you can headline. Ian Gary and Sean Brady. That's a main event fight night anywhere, anytime, anywhere you want to call it.
Okay.
You could put Topuria and Charles. They could headline a pay-per-view if you wanted them to.
Absolutely, especially if it's an interim belt.
Right, even without a title on the line, you could do that, but that's a pay-per-view main event fight. And then obviously Islam, Jack Della Maddalena. That's money.
But I'd rather see everything else. But I will happily watch
Yeah, I
these
mean,
fights.
if we want to see it from what the people on the interwebs want to see, or we can talk about it from the way that the UFC is probably looking at it, we can do that too.
Before we move on to the co-main, I do want to circle back to Bilal a little bit. And you talked about, wanting to ask him what a rebuild would look like. But from your opinion, what does a rebuild for him look like? Because it feels like we're kind of moving through that next crop of welterweights.
You know what's going to happen? If Joaquin Buckley beats Kamaru Usman with this jam we're going to have at the top of the division, they're going to have Buckley main event versus Belal like in Detroit. That's what the rebuild will look like. Be tough. He could do it. He could do it.
You see what he had to do just to get the title shot.
If he's going to find himself
That's
in
why.
some shit places versus some shit opponents, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Jamal Hill 2.0. They got Jamal fighting in Azerbaijan or whatever the fuck however the hell you say that place. Versus
To be
Khalil.
fair, he was supposed to main event the Kansas City
Yeah, I
card.
know, but now look where they put him.
And then they said, all right,
Long
fuck you.
flight.
Fuck you now.
Fuck you. You like long flights. Here you go.
Sit tight. All right. Let's move on to the co-main. Valentina Shevchenko successfully defended her title against Manon Fiorot. 48-47s all around. Straightforward to begin with. Round 1 was all Val. Round 2, Manon actually made a lot of really championship level adjustments and looked great in round 2. 3 through 5 were competitive and was kind of a mix and match on the judges' scorecards. What did you think?
Yeah, I think the judges got it right for the most part. Yeah, I really don't have a lot on this. It's impressive what Valentina's doing. I think the argument's going to be: do we want to see her versus Zhang Weili, or
Yeah, let's talk about a super fight I do want to see.
that Natalia Silva though? That might be the most impressive fighter of the night for me. After I watched her fight, Dean Thomas said that girl beats both the ladies in the main event, and I said probably. She's probably the future of the division, but she's still got some work to do. I mean, she's got some. Not that Alexa. I mean, she beat the number 1 girl in the division, so she don't got too much goddamn work to do. But
she's right there.
She's right there, but I think she's probably going to have to fight again because I think that Zhang Weili thing is a real deal now. That's the fight I want to see for sure.
Well, it felt like everybody wanted that before this Manon fight got made. And this one kind of read to me like Weili Zhang, Tatiana Suarez, where everyone was like, Tatiana.
Yeah, not till after, though.
That
was the shit part. I don't know. Valentina Shevchenko looked tired. Like, not physically like she's gassed, but like in the Grasso fight, she just looked tired of this shit. She looked.
I mean, they fought 3 times in a row,
and maybe that's like the thought or the feelings that I was seeing, and I just didn't attribute it to like this is like the billionth time they fought.
Because imagine they trotted you out there with Ryan Spann.
Shit, let's go. I'll come out of retirement right now.
I think the 3rd time you'd be like, all right, fuck this. Like, I don't want to keep doing this shit.
And I had some of those feelings in the Spann fight the 2nd time. I was like, God, I'm kind of fucking bored of this guy.
Yeah.
Kind of sick of looking at his face.
And imagine fighting the same person time and time and
5
time.
rounds.
Stakes are so high. Controversy, and as far as the decisions go, like that's gotta take a mental toll on you.
It has to. And I just kind of was looking at her just from the outside, just emotionally. She just looked sick of this shit. She looked tired. She looked even physically. She wasn't as sharp looking as she was this last weekend. So I was kind of like, man, maybe she just left everything she has left trying to get that title back. And Manon has looked really good on her feet, really aggressive, pretty fast. Like she just looked like the better, more technical striker. And at one point, I think Valentina was the better striker. But at this point in her career, she's really changed her style moving into those Alexa Grasso fights. So I was like, Manon dealt with Erin Blanchfield really, really well. She managed the distance well. She was really dangerous from the outside, had a really nasty sidekick. And then she came in and she wasn't that at all this last weekend. And Valentina looked super sharp in terms of just her physical appearance. She looked in really good shape. She was fast as fuck. She was really not selling out on the takedowns. Like, she'd go there if it was there, but she wasn't committed to it. She was the much better striker from the outside, which is wild because at the highest level, when you get two people that are here in terms of their striking ability, the larger, stronger person typically wins those exchanges just because they're able to do it from so much further away. And Manon and Valentina looked like they were in two different weight classes. And I don't know if that translated that well on TV, but in person, I couldn't believe how much bigger Manon Fiorot was than Valentina. It was shocking, the size difference. And Valentina was, and you could see it a few times in a couple of those wrestling exchanges. I don't know that Manon would have been able to hold her on the fence at those times and get those two takedowns she got if she was smaller. I think a lot of that was just size and strength. She kind of just bullied her a little bit. But I never really seen the size difference make a difference otherwise, other than those couple exchanges there.
Well, that was a talking point going into the fight, how Val would deal with the size, because Manon is big for the weight class. But then,
big girl.
But then a lot of people had the counterpoint of she's fought Amanda Nunes and
True.
Kept it close, you know?
Well, and that's always a fascinating thing to me too, because Valentina's really transformed her entire body. Because she wasn't that much smaller than Amanda when they fought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Amanda had a size advantage at 135, but like, it wasn't that big. Valentina was like real stocky, like,
and it didn't feel that big either.
No, but she and now she's like pretty petite and just fucking strong too. I was so impressed with her. I guess I don't know what else to say. I just kind of wanted to sit back and say, I don't know, everything I said yesterday is a fucking lie. Like, you made a liar out of me. Like,
fair enough.
Which I thought was, I thought it was cool. Like, Saturday night, she looked like she could fight into her 40s, which is just, I don't know. I think I said on the post, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm watching, if I'm being honest. Like, because that person I haven't seen in a long time. That was like, Valentina looked like she did when she head kicked Jessica Eye. It's like she shows up with different versions of herself. Like,
it's wild.
And now looking at it, like, she kind of fucking half-assed it and took the title off of Grasso. Like, because she looked way better on Saturday.
No, like, for sure.
How the fuck do you do that at 37? That's crazy.
One more question before we bring in Aiemann Zahabi, who also had a fun one over the weekend. Mm-hmm. You think we see Valentina Shevchenko take on Natalia Silva or Weili Zhang next? Not what you want, what you think, since you're always thinking so critically.
What I think is it'll probably be Natalia Silva.
Okay.
That's what I think. What I want is Zhang Weili, but also Natalia Silva's got the full package.
Yeah.
She really does. She got incredible footwork. She's pretty powerful in her punching. I was actually really impressed with that. I thought Alexa Grasso had an absolute terrible game plan. I was very surprised to not see Diego Lopez in her corner. I don't know what's going on there. That was surprising. I just couldn't really pinpoint any holes in Natalia Silva's game, but I didn't see a lot of the wrestling obviously Saturday, so we didn't get to see any of that. Yeah, she's good on the microphone. She's cute. She's not bad to look at. She's got like superstar abilities for sure. I just wonder what the holdup is on the Zhang Weili Valentina fight.
Because this is the conversation we had last time. You said, I want to see the Zhang Weili fight. I think we'll see Manon Fiorot. And that's what we got. So you were right last time. Yeah. That's why
there's a holdup there. There's a holdup there, and I don't know what it is. It's because I don't know why the UFC wouldn't want to do that.
Because it doesn't feel like
neither one of them are going to be around that much longer.
Exactly. And I don't think there's any
bigger fight to not. I know everyone thinks she's like super young. She's not.
How old is she?
I think she's like 35. Look it up. That's a guess, but I think she's like 35.
Would you look it up before you said that?
I didn't. How would I look it up? I'm talking to you. Is she
She's
35?
35. She is
Yeah, and
35.
Valentina's 37. So
Yep.
like, it's not like we're waiting. We used to always say with the, like the Anderson Silva, John Jones, or Anderson GSP, like, oh, we still got some time. We can let them continue to fight through their division, and then we can do it later because they were young when we started having that conversation. They're not young, and I'm not saying they're old. Like, they're still young humans, but at what point does both of them start to fall off, or one of them drops the title, or like they got some pretty goddamn tough contenders coming up. It'd be a goddamn shame. Is that your alarm going off? Are you serious?
It's my alarm to do something else for my other job.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm 100%
Wow.
serious.
Okay.
Told you I'm always working.
Sorry, friends. At
We
home.
usually record a little bit
We got
earlier.
unprofessional shit going on around here.
Oh, stop.
I would just hate for one of them to drop the title and us miss the opportunity to get a super fight. But there is a holdup, and if I had to guess, it's one of them.
Gosh, I just don't know who it would be. I mean, you've got Weili was politicking for it on social media after the fight on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not saying this never happened,
Yeah,
and I'm sure that I'll get fact checked here for sure.
you always do.
I can't recall off the top of my head Valentina Shevchenko calling for it.
What's the point?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
might be
saying it's
right
never
about
happened.
that.
I'm not saying
You
it's
might be
never
right about
happened,
that.
but I just can't recall it. So there's that, but there's also it might not be a yes or no thing. It might just be a negotiation. There might be some money stuff involved. What weight class are they going to do it at? There's some other things there,
Yeah,
because who knows? Maybe Valentina goes down.
you think?
Who knows? Wouldn't that be dope though?
Maybe that's why we're seeing the physical
Yeah.
transformation.
Wouldn't that be dope? That'd be
That would
crazy.
be
That'd be some legendary shit.
I know. She's already knocking on GOAT door.
She is.
Fresh off his UFC 315 victory and retirement of Jose Aldo, we bring in the one and only Aiemann Zahabi. Aiemann, how are you doing?
I feel great. I feel like $1 million actually.
Man, what a obviously we're just talking a little bit off air. What an inspirational type of performance, man. Obviously, I don't know if you heard, I had a lot of thoughts on kind of just your heart and determination and will going into that fight. But how does it feel, just generally speaking, overall, to have like a guy like Jose Aldo's name kind of on your mantle now?
Yeah, it's pretty great. Like at first when I got the name, I was shocked that they put me with Aldos, but I was in a good happy, like a good shock, like a happy shock.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see like my name associated with his name now. And it was a big obstacle already, just fighting Jose Aldo. He's one of the greatest of all time. And then the adversity just continued to add on. It actually compounded throughout the week. First he misses weight, and then getting rocked in the fight in the third, and but I dealt with it all, man. I dealt with each aspect of the adversity, and I came out through the other side.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that part of it. Just as you get there the week of the fight, and you start your process and getting to your weight cut, and you get to the point where you're almost at 136 pounds, and then you get the call. And before you answer, I want to say I think that you handled everything perfectly all through the entire week, whether that was your media, the professionalism that you carried yourself with, your suit look fly, the way you handled the weight cut stuff, the post. It's just very clear that I can tell that you've spent a lot of time with Fiorot and GSP mentoring you through this game. And I thought you handled everything perfectly. But so when you get the call, what's your first reaction that he's going to miss weight by a lot?
Man, I was pissed.
I
Yeah,
bet.
I mean, it was like I try to stay numb to everything as much, especially fight week. Because as long as I'm numb and detached from everything, I can perform well. I want to fight in my neutral gear. I don't want to be emotional. I'm not one of those guys who needs to be mad at anybody. And I don't do well when I'm too happy either. So I need to be like numb to succeed. So I try to keep myself in neutral gear. But I was so depleted.
Right.
Like I got the call and I was in my last wrap. I go bath, wrap, and I was in my last wrap. So I get the call around 8 a.m., 7:45, something like that. and Frost like tells me, he's like, "Oh, it's Sean," and he said that Aldo's 145, and we gotta stop cutting because there's no way he's cutting. And he's like, "I need you to dry up right now and check your weight." So I said, "Okay." So I dry off. I put on a dry pair of underwear. I get on the scale. We film it. I'm 136.8. So finishing that wrap, I was done.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just there. So like I was mad, and I was mostly mad because I guess I was dehydrated, and I'm not thinking too clearly yet, and I'm just upset because like I know the fight's off.
Yeah.
I had sacrificed everything, man. This is the every fight I do it, but they're always getting bigger. They're always getting more expensive. They're always getting more elaborate. The camps, and it's like I gave in so much, and like right now they just the day before the show, fights off, and it kind of hurts. Like it's emotional a little bit because you're attached to like, okay, I'm gonna get to live this experience.
Yeah.
And I had worked out with my mindset coach that now I take fight week as like my vacation week. So it's like somebody just ruined my entire vacation, and fight night's like the big send off of the vacation. It's like it's everything, and so I was okay for us. Like, listen, let's just calm down, let's relax, and let's see if there's a solution. And then Sean Shelby explained to us that in Montreal there's a special rule that's not always like this, but if there's a 5 pound difference, the fight's off. There's no way they can put the fight together. So I need to start rehydrating.
Right.
So I had to start
So
drinking
you're
during the
cutting,
negotiation. Yeah,
and now you got to gain 5 pounds pretty
yeah.
quick.
They won't let me get on the scale.
So and
Right.
that's probably harder to do at that point because you've already cut. Your body is kind of used to this weight cut that you've acclimated yourself to over the last few
Yeah.
days. 5 pounds is a lot of weight to put on in like what, an hour?
Yeah, so I started drinking, and my stomach's tiny, right? You
Yeah.
know exactly that feeling, right? And
Yeah.
so you have to pace yourself. Like even when the PI gives us the drink, so like this drink takes 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And
So
they
yeah,
never
so like
last 15 minutes, but
no, exactly.
by the
But
time you,
like
yeah, you
yeah,
chug it and you don't feel good.
yeah. So like anyways, I'm working through that, and then we're going back and forth, and for us it's like, okay, let's just go downstairs in person. I
Yeah.
want to talk to Sean in person. So we go downstairs, and for us spoke to Sean Shelby. He worked out a deal, and then accepted the terms. So Frost says that if you accept the terms, there's no more talking about it. Like you just now we fight Aldo.
Right.
It is what it is. There's no
Man, what a smart thing to say.
yeah.
What
He's like,
a
there's nothing to talk about. I said,
what a
okay.
great point.
He's like, you could talk about it in the media, but we only say the facts.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Aldo badly. Don't put him in a negative light. He's never missed weight before. It's the first time he misses weight. Who knows what happened to him? He's like, you want to say the facts? You say the facts. You say the difference in weight. And you don't make any excuses about it. You accepted the terms now. The fight's on, fight's on.
What
So
a what a what a what a great mindset to have going
yeah,
into something that's got a lot of adversity attached to it, where you accepted the terms, now it's on you. There's
yeah,
no
it's on
more,
me
you
now.
you can't use it later on if things don't go your way. It's a
Yeah,
kind of getting rid of that built-in excuse.
yeah. So it's like don't make sure it's not in the back of your head. Like we're going to
Yeah.
fight him, we're fighting him.
Okay, so
You know?
now things are different because not only do you have Jose Aldo in front of you, you have a overweight, maybe harder hitting, not
Yeah,
as, I don't know, probably he's going to have a little more conditioning. Maybe you'll be able to, at 135, maybe you can gas him after that extra 7 or 8 pounds. He's got to really struggle, and now
the
he's
main
able
the
to
main
do it.
the main point of debate for us was like how much more could he absorb in terms of impact versus me? Because I
Right.
depleted 8% more. Sorry, 8 pounds more.
Hmm.
Right. So because you lose water everywhere equally. You don't focus where you lose water from. So I
Yeah.
drained my brain and my body 8 pounds more than he drained. So when we rehydrate, what gets the water first? What rehydrates first?
Right.
And then in the end, I'm the one who gets dropped in the fight, right? Did the eight
Yeah.
pounds have something to do with me getting dropped? And like,
Potentially.
yeah, potentially, right? And like, I don't mean this in an insulting way, but Aldo at 45, in my opinion, is more robust than Aldo at 135.
Yeah.
I felt like he's more breakable at 35 than he was at 45. At 45, very few guys could break him.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of guys who beat him. Maybe 3 guys who beat him, right?
Yeah.
At
Well, there's one
145.
more
Right?
now.
Now there's one more at
Yeah.
145. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like at 35, I think the weight cut really affected his durability, is what I mean. I'm
Yeah.
not saying he's
I
soft. He's
agree.
super strong. He's a gutsy guy. I have all the respect for him. I just mean it takes more out of him than if he made weight at 45. So I went all the way down
Yeah.
basically, and he did it. I had to fight the 45 Aldo, not the 35 Aldo.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
And being 135.
And being
So
bantamweight.
yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so
Yeah.
you get in there and I came down from the desk because I wanted to any chance I get to just be on any chance I get to see Jose Aldo fight in person, I want to be as close as possible. But
Nice.
I was really fascinated with your guys' fight just because of the stylistic matchup and just how I thought maybe it could go.
Yeah.
And I felt like I seen, and this is just my interpretation of kind of what I seen in watching this poetry in motion, but I felt like I seen a person in you maybe a bit unsure while you're in there and trying to get your, not unsure, I don't want to say you, because you looked confident, you looked sharp, everything looked great, but just a little bit hesitant at times to come in and trying to get your feet under you maybe a little bit and really take in where you were at the moment. Because I don't know that you really threw a whole lot in the first like 3.5 minutes. You were kind of just trying to figure it out, it seemed like. And then I feels like I seen you start to gain confidence and say, I belong in here. I can really do this. And you started to work your way into it. And it was a lot of fun for me to watch. I just felt like I was watching you grow as a fighter and as a person as the fight went on. I don't know how much of that is true or if that's just me being so into it, but how did you feel as the fight started and progressed?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, bro. I think you have a lot of fights too, man, and you've seen a lot of fights in your life. So yeah, you read me pretty well, and a lot of it had to do with, like I was telling you, the difference in weight. So basically, we changed the game plan on Friday. So
That's
yeah,
tough.
I mean sometimes game plans are affected by strategy,
Hmm.
and they are also affected by the tactics choose to execute the strategy. And sometimes tactics are decisions you can make and not tools that you need to add. So like the decision making was different because like the main plan was to before Friday was to step on the gas and get in his face early
Hmm.
and let's attack his battery. That was the main plan
Yeah.
because he would have depleted himself to 35. But because of the 8 pound difference, now my brother when we were gonna make that decision and when he told me, he's like, now that we decided, before we said that we decided, he told me, look, he's like, the game plan's gonna change a little bit. We're gonna be safer for longer, much longer,
Right.
because we wanted to see how I take his punches and how he takes my punches. Well, strikes in general, but I just say
Yeah.
punches. But yeah, how well does he take my punches and how do I take his punches? Because if there's a huge disparity, then we're gonna change the tactical skills that we
Right.
need to
Now
approach.
we're wrestling or we're more
Now we're
clinched.
doing whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. That's it, 100%. So the first round now, instead of being like guns ho, let's take it to him and push his gas tank,
Hmm.
it was more like, okay, let's figure out what's the power difference, what's the weight difference, the size difference, what's the speed. Let's really, really figure out who Aldo is. And if you rewatch the fight, okay, there's a moment when it's like a minute left. I just start smiling,
Yeah.
and I start cooking. And then even DC realized, like, wait a second. He's like, it looks like Aiemann has figured something out. And then I just start lighting him up, and I start putting in the action on.
Hmm.
And it's because I finally figured out kind of like almost like his sequence or the way he moves or the pattern recognition, but I felt it in my subconscious a little bit. So I was like, oh, now I can go.
Yeah.
But it took me that 4 minutes to build that confidence because in the back of my head there was that, like, a little bit of a weight difference. I know Frost told me to nip it in the bud, but we're still human.
Right.
Like
It's
I know
fair.
sometimes coaches wishes you were robots. They say something, you're like, yes I compute, but fucking I got emotions, I'm still
Yeah.
dealing with it and all that stuff. So it took me like 4 minutes to find the timing, the range, and like I'll give this to Aldo. He's one. He's very hard to hit in the head. He's so slippery. His
Yeah.
twitchiness and his head movements awkward and hard to predict. And I had a hard time finding that range. But at the end of round one, I almost feel like I could have maybe even stole the round because I landed so many shots at the end. But he won 4 minutes. I get it. But I'm just mean like it came out so nice.
Right.
And in round two, I walked him down the whole time,
Yeah.
all of round two. But people don't really realize because they stopped the fight twice for the low blows. Even though after rewatching it, the second one wasn't low.
No, it
And I
wasn't.
told him
You
in the
could see
fight.
that on the replay. You could see
Yeah.
the second one wasn't low at all.
But because it got cut up, people don't realize I was walking him down the whole time. in round 2. And my confidence was growing, exactly like you were saying. It was growing over time. And like, it sounds stupid, but I have this thing where it's like, by round 3, I want to be breathing fire type thing. You know what I mean? In the first couple of rounds, I have to walk through the flames, but by the last round, I'm breathing fire. You know, that's
Yeah.
kind of like my mindset going in. And it was really cool today, actually. Like, you're the first person I get to tell this to, but like, Christophe Midou, GSP's first ever trainer. You know, he's like his
Yeah.
karate master, and like, we have a lot of respect for this guy. This guy's an OG, and he wrote me out, like, he sent me so many nice messages, and even in the messages, he told me, he's like, you're super proud of me because I walked through the hellfire, and Aldo couldn't walk through my hellfire. Like,
Right.
by the time I put him in hellfire, he was done. I broke him in the end. You
Well,
know, so
and
it's incredible.
I want to talk about that part of it specifically,
Yeah.
because I think that that's where the fight for me, again, how cool it was for me to see you work into being like, I fucking belong here. You know, like I could
Yeah,
be in
yeah.
here with this guy. Watching that, and then the second round you look great, and then the third round you get hurt. And so there's like two things that I'm watching here. Like I'm watching you build into it, and then I get this feeling like, shit, like now, because that can like really break people later on in their career, where like you go into another fight with another legend or whatever, and you work your way into it, and then you don't, like, say you end up losing because of that. You get hurt and you get finished. Well, now that gets rid of everything that you just grew, all that growth and all the things you built in yourself the first 2 rounds. Now it's almost like those things don't matter because you ended up you losing. So that's what I was thinking, like, oh, this sucks because he just did so much.
Yeah.
And then now we're in this terrible situation. So, he's throwing these head kicks are absolutely insane. I seen a slow motion version of one today, and I was like, "Oh my god, how does he
Yeah.
take that?" So, what are you going through emotionally when you're hurt and Aldo is being Jose Aldo trying to chase this finish?
Yeah, it was incredible because like I work with a mindset coach since my last fight,
Yeah,
and it's we always talk about what can go wrong because
yeah,
you're not really strong mentally if you just think everything's gonna go well. You're actually delusional. You know what I mean?
hmm
Because adversity is gonna come find you, man. It
yeah. It doesn't
comes and it
work like that.
surprises you, and it comes when you don't want it to come. And so you always ask me, so like, what's your biggest fear? What's the worst thing that could happen? He asked me like different questions like that often, very often. So I do like this exercise, and one of them I answer to, like, one of them, one answer I always give is like, I don't want, like, if I get rocked, like that would be the worst thing, or I get dropped. So he
hmm
says, okay, what's the plan? And I rehearse that. Well, I gotta catch my breath, make space, and win the next exchange, and then win the next 15 seconds, and then win the next 15 seconds after that, and then I end up winning, the last 3 minutes of the fight.
Yeah.
So like that's all was going through my head when I got
So you're
dropped.
fighting 15 seconds at a time. It's not
When
trying
I
to
get
make it
hurt.
through the round. It's like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like you're just trying
Yeah.
to make it through the next 15 seconds. I just need to be
Mhm.
safe for the next 15 seconds.
Yeah. If I get hurt, that's the plan. If I'm not
Yeah.
getting hurt, I have the story of the fight because, like, I feel like it takes a lot of fight experience to realize how much time is going on throughout the fight. Because I feel like at my 10th pro fight, I know how much time is left by feel.
Yeah.
Whereas before 10 pro fights, I depended on my corner yelling, okay, 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 minutes left. Because you don't have that feel. Actually, you feel like time is going much faster, but it's actually going slower.
Right.
Like you
Well, it
think you did
depends on
four
what's happening
minutes?
in a fight too. Like if
Yeah,
things are going well, it flies. And then, you get hit
yeah,
hard and things aren't going your way. You're like, okay, the round's got to be almost over. And they're
yeah,
like 3.5 minutes left. You're like, shit.
yeah, yeah. So you don't have this perception of time, but with fight experience,
hmm
you have that internal clock. And I feel like also another thing I've developed is the internal scorecard. So I have the internal clock and I have the internal scorecard now. Now I feel like I'm a veteran, right?
Yeah.
And so throughout the fight, I'm telling myself the story of how the fight's developing. So I feel like I'm pretty accurate in how I feel like the fight's going. Maybe the judges have it different than I have in my head for sure, right? It's possible. But I'm trying to keep that internal dialogue because, sometimes you fight a guy like Pedro Munoz, okay? And like, just to go over a little bit, the plan for him was, I knew I wasn't putting him away.
hmm
Never been finished,
Yeah.
right? It's never been finished. So I can't get caught up that if I rock him, hunt too hard for the kill.
Right. Because you're
If I
probably not
rock
going to
him,
get it.
man, I get it. So
Mhm.
how many guys jump for a guillotine? How many guys go for the ground pound and get tired, and then all of a sudden it turns the other way? So if it can turn the other way for them, it can turn the other way for me.
Right.
So
That's
like
true.
I just have to recover, and then maybe I turn it all around, and then like in the scramble, right? So I'm scrambling, I'm trying to make my space, I'm trying to. Then I hit him with the 1-2 turn to run. I realize, oh wait, he ain't chasing as hard. I
Yeah,
turn
he's hurt.
back, he steps in, I hit him 1-2 again. Then he stops. But wait a second, he hits me with the right hand. I take it, I walk forward, he starts walking back. I'm like, oh man, his aura just changed.
Yeah.
Maybe now I'm cooking. Maybe now something's working for me. And all of a sudden, the tables turns and he starts breaking mentally, but also physically.
Yeah.
And then you see, like when I start exchanging with him, then he starts withering away. But my favorite thing about the fight, Anthony, is that after the scramble that I survived,
Hmm.
I stayed cool, calm, and composed, and he panicked.
He did.
When it came
Yeah.
for me to finish him, I didn't panic finish.
Right. Well, and when he
He's
when he shot a
yeah.
takedown, I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
That's
like
it, bro.
that
Yeah,
was the key. Like, I don't
yeah,
want to be here anymore. Like,
yeah,
whatever's happening here, I'm not
yeah,
enjoying. And then when you defended the takedown and he started to kind of go down a little bit,
yeah.
a person who's like mentally dialed in, who's
Mhm,
in the fight, not just physically, but mentally still checked in, there was an opportunity there for him to scramble to his feet,
mhm,
and he chose not to. He
mhm.
chose to sit and go to his guard, and that's when. And there was a lot of people behind me screaming, "No, he's going to get up!" Like, no, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, yeah,
Not just because Aim is not going to let him. He's not going to try. If he
yeah,
wanted to be on his feet, he would have been already. He
yeah,
could have scrambled harder on his way down and
yeah,
chose not to. Uh, one more thing on the scrambling at the end, and then I'll get you
yeah.
out of here so you're not stuck with me for too long. But
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm having fun.
one of the coolest things I seen, because again, I'm so like in tune with just the feelings and what's going on around the
Yep.
fight, and it was just such a fascinating fight to me. But while you're on top and you're throwing these elbows, but
Mhm.
you're being so smart about them. You're not, there's not a big retraction. They were just short elbows doing a lot of damage. I look over, and GSP
Mm.
was so excited.
Yeah,
And you guys are making eye contact during
yeah,
it was the coolest thing, like
yeah,
watching, like, of course he's yelling and you're having this verbal conversation, but
yeah,
there was a lot of nonverbal communication happening where,
yeah.
he's like holding his head here, and then you lift your head in
Hmm.
posture a
Yeah,
little. It was
yeah,
one of the wildest things to me. And I
yeah,
just thought, like, what a cool moment in time, that when you and GSP and your brother, and when you guys are all kind of, there's no more competitors, right? And it's you guys sitting around having a dinner or whatever. What a cool conversation you guys can have about that
yeah,
moment in time right there. While you're still competing and you're kind of in the fire, do you
yeah.
do you grasp that, like the moments that you're having with such legends like your brother and GSP, or is it just you're at home because these are your people and you're so close to them?
No, no, it's just work till it's done.
Yeah.
It's like you can't. Like I'm trying to be more conscious and smile through everything, but sometimes like I try to explain to my friends and family who've never fought before. But when you're any type of competition, doesn't have to be fighting. When you're running on your conscious, you're slow, and when you're running on your subconscious, you're fast.
Hmm.
So in the end, that's why for me personally, I like to be numb. I don't want to be overhyped, and I don't want to be sad or depressed or angry. Anger is the worst for me.
Right.
And but if I'm numb and I just do the work, I absolutely love it. And then when I look back at it, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it was cool, like you said. I didn't think anybody would ever notice, but when I would look up, were showing me how to do what I
Yeah.
need to do,
It's
which
one of
was
my
so
favorite parts
cool.
about fighting, is just
Yeah,
watching those kind of interactions or those kind of moments. And uh I don't know. Someday I want to do like just segments of things like that I watch from the outside. So I always write them down. And
yeah,
I wrote that down, like, in my notes on my phone. Like, what a fucking cool moment I got to, like, just watch you guys have there.
yeah.
And
If you
and
see
at
like
the
one
same
of
time,
them,
like, not even
yeah.
mention that the guy on the bottom is Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
So like, this is crazy. This is
Yeah.
nuts.
It's a cherry on top for sure. And even it was funny because even like how to throw the elbows, George was showing me the
He,
angles you wanted me to take.
he
And then
was.
Frost was like lifting his leg up, like he's like, step up on one leg. So I step up on one leg to throw the elbow. And it
Yeah.
was cool. And then we're just facing that direction. It was nice. And when rewatching the tape, like I put GSP in the corner, and I really thought he was just gonna let like for us do all the work, right?
Hmm.
But no, man, he was so invested in that fight.
He was.
Like his presence was felt. Like I could
Yeah.
hear. I ended up hearing him more than hearing for us, because like normally the arena is not so loud for the whole fight,
Yeah.
and for us, for us, when he talks with a level voice, because if his voice gets excited, he knows it's gonna make me excited.
Hmm.
So the louder he yells and talks, that's the tempo I need for the fight, basically. So
Right.
to keep me calm and cool, he talks to me calm and cool. And I always hear his voice cuts through everybody for me. You know, like I finally tuned to his words. But the arena was so loud, I couldn't hear for us. And George was yelling throughout the whole 15 minutes. I can only
He
hear
was.
George giving me. It was so cool. And then, like, if you look at I watched the fight yesterday, and there's like the coach's cam when I was elbowing Aldo, and Aldo like was digging his fingers in my gloves,
Hmm.
and I'm looking at the ref. I'm like, yo, his fingers are in my gloves. Like, I was hoping the referee would just slap them out because I couldn't get my hand out.
Hmm.
And you see GSP like in the little corner thing, he's like, I don't give a fuck, elbow him. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just do it, you
Yeah.
know. So
Forget it.
it was
Forget it.
like, you
Move
know, like
on.
he's such a nice guy, but in that moment, he wanted me to win. Like he was so invested. Like I know him since I'm 16. I know him 20 years, man.
Yeah.
And it was cool, and like he's always believed in me, and he always calls me, and he always takes care of me, and he always watches out for me. But it was nice to see that I brought out the passion in him, and
Yeah.
it's like I really felt that he loves me. You know, he always tells me he loves me, but it was just nice to feel it and see it in action. You know.
Yeah. No, it was cool to see George in a I don't know, like an emotional state.
Yeah,
Because
I
even
felt
when
like I was his baby brother in there.
yeah, like even when he fought, there wasn't a lot of emotion. It was,
No,
very
no,
business as
man.
usual. So that was cool. All right, man. Well, before I let you go, what do you want to do next? You got a name? You got a card you want to fight on? A position? I
Yeah.
think you're
Well,
probably
I
getting close
asked.
to this main event thing too.
That'd be sick. Listen, I'm gonna
Yeah.
need more money for that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting close for sure.
Yeah. And those things are 5 rounds, right? So I don't know. Maybe a little extra cash would be sick.
For sure.
I called out Marlon Vera. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, I have nothing against him. I
Yeah.
just think it'll be a good matchup. That's respectful call out. You know, there's no absolutely no hate and nothing like that. No trash talk. But I know he's fighting in a few weeks, and it doesn't matter to me. We'll fight in in September or October. I just think it would be nice to fight him. I think it'd be a good fight, big name. And I'm
Yeah.
just only reason I would never call anyone out. I just think it's a good style. Half the fight is making it good for the fans. Stylistic fun in
Hmm.
that sense. I love to strike. He loves to strike. I told everybody I wasn't going to shoot on Aldo. A lot of people didn't believe me. They thought I would take the Batista route, or
Yeah.
everybody shoots on Aldo to be safe, right? Everyone
Right.
shoots on Aldo to make him tired, so they don't take the risk of striking with him. But I thought I was good enough to strike with him, man, and I feel like I proved that I can hang with these guys. And striking fight sounds cool, and that's kind of like my plan.
Yeah, man. Well, I think you gained a lot of fans for people that maybe didn't know you before that. You showed your heart. I know we don't always like to have to rely on it, but
No, yeah, sure.
man, superstars are born from opportunities and performances like that, man. So congratulations, man, and hopefully you when you get another fight, you'll come back on here. We can talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I would love it, and I appreciate you having me on this time. Thank you, Anthony.
Of course, man. Take care.
Anthony, I really enjoyed that interview because I can listen to you talk to, your training partners and your buddies, and it'll always be a good conversation to listen to. But that one with Aiemann, I know you guys don't really have a relationship. Had you ever really
Mhm.
spoken to him before that?
No, that I think that's the first. I shook his hand. I think in passing
Mhm.
backstage, and just told him congratulations. But I've never spoke to him ever before.
Well, I think he appreciated the conversation. You were, honest about what you saw in the fight. And my favorite part was your honesty. Like, I went down there to watch Jose Aldo. We don't know
I
how
did.
many more Aldo fights we're going to have.
Yeah.
That's why I went down there. But I actually noticed XYZ about you and being down there. So I think younger fighters really appreciate things like that.
Yeah. I just I really enjoy conversations with people like that. Like he's into the deepness that fighting is at times. Um, Watching GSP just lose his fucking mind was awesome because you never see GSP emotional. He's so professional. He's very prim and proper and very. He's very media trained. He's very good at what he does. But watching him just get outside of himself and just be so into the emotions during the fight was awesome, and it says a lot about Aiemann Zahabi. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's this retirement thing. I've just been really deep thinking into this game a lot,
Yeah.
and just looking at it differently. So I enjoyed his fight. And I really enjoyed that conversation with him. It was cool to like. Some fighters are just like, if I would have brought that up with some people, they would be like, "Yeah, it's cool, whatever."
Yeah.
Because there's, like sometimes you're just in the fire and you're not paying that
Sure.
close of attention. But he seemed like, even in his interviews all week, he seemed like a very, very inward thinking, very aware person.
I think that's probably because of his team around him too. Like you would
For
think
sure.
this guy's walking out with Fiorot and GSP.
When he said, Firas said, if we take this deal, then that's it. We don't talk about it again. Like there's no excuses. Like his
That was
own
one
brother.
of my favorite parts of the interview.
Yeah, his own brother took out all the excuses. You don't get to use it as an excuse. If you accept these terms, you don't get to use it as an excuse, which is something I think gets missed sometimes. Like
Mhm.
we do kind of bury people for missing weight,
Yeah.
but we don't talk about the fact that a lot of these situations, we hear the 20%, but there's a lot of back deals that go on at the same time. Like guys making 100 and 100, you get the 20%. Like they didn't talk about a percentage with the Aldo thing, but if you get 20% of Aldo's money, that's $200,000 at least. I would guarantee it. Aldo's making $1 million. So at least. So if he got the 20%, that's a fucking huge chunk of change. It's probably more than he was making anyways.
Absolutely.
And then in these other situations, like if you're making 50 and 50, you get the 20% of whatever that guy's making. And then the UFC breaks you off another, 30 or whatever. Like it's a pretty big jump. And then you still use it as an excuse seems unfair at times.
Right.
Like, wait a second, like you took a fuck ton of that guy's money and still decided to fight. Like, of course we're gonna talk about it, but I don't know if it's fair that you get to bury that guy. Like,
well, I liked Fiorot's part of it too, where it's like that's also Jose Aldo you're talking about, an absolute legend who
right.
does not have weight issues. We don't know what's going on there. Like, keep it moving.
What a mature approach. What
That's
a mature
important.
approach for a team and a fighter to take. Like, if you accept those terms, you don't get a bitch about it. You don't get to bring it up again. You can talk about the facts and that's it. And that's fucking Jose Aldo you're talking about. So watch what you fucking say. Like, goddamn.
I
That's
love
badass.
that.
That's
More
badass.
fighters could use that in their
Like,
corner.
Damn, I need to give me some Firas Zahabi in my life for sure.
Right.
We need to see if we can get him on here.
The second he told that story, I was like, we have to get Firas on.
Yeah, what a conversation that would be.
I do want to get to, I feel like we've done our due diligence on UFC 315. Fantastic interview. You broke down the main and co-main. Couple disagreements between us, but nonetheless, great stuff. I do want to get to some Ask Anthony's because we didn't get to last episode. We've taken a couple weeks off, with your retirement and chilling.
I love these questions.
Oh, they're good. I asked for a refresh last night because we had a lot on, pre-retirement questions.
Yeah.
What's the mentality and yada, yada, yada. But we're past that now.
Yeah, we're full into retirement mode now.
We're retired. The shoes have grass stains on them.
For sure.
Moving on.
Yeah. DC says I'm out of control right now.
Okay, let's do this one. It kind of stems from when we talked before your last fight. But the question is, whatever happened with your truck from before the last fight? Did they ever get it fixed?
Oh my God.
Story on the podcast.
I did. That's right. No, I still don't have it back. It is in Denver. No ETA available on a new motor. Did I ever tell you guys what happened to it? Or did I say that it just
I don't
broke
think
down?
you did. I think you told me in
okay.
passing.
So for any of the vehicle people out there, I am part of that issue that has stemmed from the or that has, I guess, started the voluntary recall on like 800,000 vehicles that have the same motor that my Tahoe has in it. So they have no ETA. So it was a blown motor with like 20 whatever thousand miles on it. And so yeah, I'm waiting on a motor replacement. So they're just as soon as the dealership gets the shipping information when the new motor is going to be shipped from GM, then I'll get an ETA on when my vehicle will be done. But yeah, I'm just still got it in Denver. So when it gets in, then they'll fix it. I'm just going to be honest. I was going to say I had to fly there and drive it back, but I'll either fly one of my friends there and they'll drive and I'll just pay them to drive it back, or I'll have it shipped here because I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
I got some training partners, these young up and coming fighters that need some money. I'll just fly one of those fools there and have them drive it back.
Worst.
Yeah. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not driving 8 hours for no reason.
Then, yeah, no.
No,
No,
no.
just absolutely
I'll
not.
just
If you're
pay
gonna
for.
spend the money on the flight to fly there, you may as well just pay one of your friends to do it.
Right, and I'll just, you can get a Southwest flight from Omaha to Denver for like $150. So I'll just fly them there and have them drive it back.
Okay, next one. I love this one. I'll preface it. I don't know if you talk about this publicly, so if you don't, I'll cut this
We'll
out.
cut it out. Okay. Okay, what are we talking
But
about?
someone asked, "Are you working on getting your pre-check back?" I don't know if you have it, but I know why it was
Oh
taken
my
away.
God. Okay, so here's the deal. For the people that don't know, a couple years ago, I was doing a lot of flying back and forth places, but I was also before that I had been off for a while. And then sometimes I'll jump out to the farm or I'll be hunting or whatever. And a lot of the times I used to always carry a firearm in my backpack. I take this backpack with me everywhere. So at the time I was using the same backpack for just my day to day. And because I got kids, you throw the shit in there, whatever. And I travel with it. So in a rush, I was going to Bristol, Connecticut to work a pay-per-view. And I had been out at the farm and I just slid the gun in my backpack. And then I went through, just set that thing on the belt and just slid it through.
Like with
And
confidence, I'm sure too.
and listen, I was actually on time because I'm always, me, I'm always late. So I was on time, and in my head, I was like feeling cocky too. I was like, shit, look at me on time. I'm gonna go to the little bar area here. I'm gonna have me a nice Moscow Mule.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get on this plane. I'm gonna sleep the whole way. I make it through. Excuse me. I make it through security, and I'm on the other side, and there's a couple businessmen. They're in their suits. You can tell they're on these business trips, and I'm like, "What's taking so long, guys?" Like they're starting to bitch and complain. I was like, "Yeah, I'm on time, and now I'm getting held up here. This is stupid."
Right.
And then I see all the blue shirt TSA people start running down. There's like 10 of them come over,
Feds
and I
rolling
was like,
in.
and I remember thinking, "Oh, someone had something in their bag. Someone's fucked." And then I see the police start coming, and I was like, "Someone's in so much trouble." And then I hear this guy calling, "We need a supervisor. We need a supervisor." So they shut down the other lanes too. And I didn't think anything of it. I had already grabbed my one bag that had like my shoes, my phone, and my like roller bag, and I just wasn't thinking anything of it because no one had their shit. And then I hear the security or the supervisor come over, and she said, "What's going on here?" Like to the TSA guy at the screen. And she said, "What's going on here, guys?" And he goes, "There's a gun in that bag." And I go, "Oh shit." Because I realized immediately it was me.
Couldn't
So,
have been
yeah.
the businessmen.
Couldn't have been them. I realized because then as soon as she said it, it just hit me like, oh my fucking God, that was me. Yeah, so that was a mess. I got a pretty nasty fine there. Made my flight still though. And then I
Because you
did
were
it.
so early.
And then on the way to fight Ryan Spann in Singapore, I did it again. I just same bag, same different gun, but same it was the other terminal, like so different line, but same situation. It was a way bigger deal the second time.
Well, because the first time
they're
you're in
like, "Listen."
Omaha, people kind of know you.
No, I was in Omaha both times.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
But
somewhere else. Okay, never mind.
no, I was getting ready to go to Singapore.
Got
So,
it.
and I was with my best friend Ryan, and immediately they're like, "Whose bag is this?" And I go, "That's my bag." And because I always have a bunch of like podcasts and like I got cameras and microphones and whatever in my bag. So like a lot of times it gets pulled just for all the cords and all that stuff. So they said, "Whose bag is this?" And I said, "That's mine." And he goes, "There's a prohibited item in there." And I immediately got mad. I was like, "No, the fuck there's not. I just did this shit
This
9
ain't
months
my
ago."
first rodeo.
Yeah, I just did this shit like 9 months ago. Don't even play that goddamn game. And he goes, "Yes, there is." And I said, "What is it?" And he goes, "It's a gun." And I went, "Oh, fuck."
And
It was a
not for
big deal.
nothing.
It was a big deal.
You've
The
got
second time was a
shaved
big deal.
head, tattoos all over. Like it's
Yeah.
not a good look.
They took every single item out of my bag the second time. They like surface tested everything. Every electronic in my bag had to be plugged in and shown that it could be turned on. They had to wipe almost every surface of any exposed skin that I had. I mean, it was a big deal. And I got a nasty fine. Nasty, nasty fine. And I didn't tell my wife about it. So this is the best part. You don't get the fine for like a month later. They'll send you a thing and whatever, and you go through the little process and you get your fine. So, but they still continue to let me fly. So like they took it again, they confiscated it again. I get the paper that says I took a prohibited item through a TSA checkpoint again. And so I get on the flight, but I'm like, everybody here, don't tell your fucking wives, don't tell your friends, because I cannot deal with this fucking problem that I'm gonna have when I get home. I can't deal with it right now because she's gonna be pissed. Because I'll just be honest with you, the first time was a $5,000 fine. So I knew that it was going to be at least double that the second time. So I just didn't want to deal with getting my ass chewed for being a fucking idiot.
Sure.
So then I get back from the fight. I look like shit because remember my eye was so jacked up. I get in the car and we get like 5 minutes away from the airport, and I was like, I have to tell you something. And she said, I also have to tell you something. And I swear to God, the first thing I thought was, I hope she cheated on me, because that's going to offset me taking a fucking gun through the airport again. What I did won't even matter. Like I just hope it's worse than what I did.
Sure.
And so she had just gotten a new car, and I put all new wheels and tires on it. It's lifted, and she keeps hitting fucking curbs with these brand new wheels and tires and fucking up the rims. So she had turned and she had completely totaled one of her brand new wheels. Like, it was expensive. So she tells me that, and then I tell her mine, and I swear to God, it was like one of the coolest things. We fist bumped each other and said, let's make sure we both don't do that again. And then we just went on. Like, it was no big deal. Like, it was kind of a wash, and I didn't get yelled at. It was perfect.
Okay, that brings me back though to
Also,
the
the fine
original
was
question.
$16,000.
So they tripled.
16.4 to be exact.
Well, wait. So did you get your pre-check taken away?
Yeah. To answer that question, yes, I got my pre-check taken away. The first time I got an 18-month suspension on my pre-check, and I'm too afraid to ask on the second. So I'm just in the regular line with everybody
Wow,
else.
you're in general boarding.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah, for sure. I got clear. They let me keep my clear though.
Yeah,
But I'm still
clear's
raw
weird.
foot.
You could like get it for free day of at the airport. Like,
Yeah, I'm still raw
pre-check is
foot in the
elite.
airport floors with no shoes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good look.
So I'm a man of the people.
Oh yeah,
I'm the
absolutely.
man with the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about your outfit in Montreal this weekend. Someone says, when will you start to wear sweater vests now that you're retired?
Oh, soon. I think I'm gonna get one. Me and Dean are gonna try to wear a sweater vest at the same time.
What are you guys doing in sweater vests? Like, just you're gonna do the broadcast together?
Yeah, we're just gonna work the show.
Why? Like, why has that come up in conversation?
Why not?
Well, how did that come up in conversation? You guys looked at
That's
each
just what
other
you
one
do
night?
when you retire.
So you
It's just,
retired and then you and Dean spoke and you were like,
listen, I can't wait for wintertime. I'm gonna start wearing turtlenecks regularly.
I don't.
It's fine. All right, next question. I got you on the sweater vest though, friends.
They get a little bit more like actual questioning now. We've had our fun.
I know I did go long on the airport one. Sorry.
Okay. Someone said, how much did that elbow to the head hurt in your last fight?
Is that someone being an asshole?
No, I don't think
Oh.
so. Maybe, but I don't think.
Not too bad. No, not too
Are
bad.
you just like, is adrenaline high and you kind of?
Yeah. No, I don't remember the one that cut me, but it wasn't impactful enough. It was inconsequential feeling enough that I started bleeding and didn't know what I got hit with. Like I didn't recall something hitting me and feeling like it was going to cut me. I just remember the blood running and go, fuck, something cut me. But I've been hit with shit before that's cut me and immediately go to grab it because I know like, oh, I'm going to be fucking cut from that.
Right.
So it wasn't one of those.
Okay.
It was to the bone. It was to the bone though.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I got a dope picture. The
Did
doctor
you?
like spread it open and took a picture of it. It was dope.
Ew.
Yeah, you can see my skull.
All right, last one. It's more of just a statement because I feel like we should rejoice at the end of this episode. And it's from our favorite Budweiser employee that rolls up every time I do an Ask Anthony with
Yeah.
like a question or an update. And he's letting us know that Bush Apple's back.
It's back. It is. It's back in St. Louis. I have a friend that's in St. Louis that the Busch Light Apple is there. Who is that guy really a Budweiser employee?
Yeah.
Where does he live?
I didn't ask for his social. I asked for
Well,
Ask
this
Anthony
is-
questions.
This is a big deal. Okay. Busch Light Apple. Last time Busch Light Apples were out, I bought an entire pallet of it. A whole pallet of 30 packs.
What's the game plan now?
Is for
And
us
you're
to
retired. You're more reckless.
For us to use our Budweiser connection that we've organically built through this podcast to figure out how we get a pallet of that shit in my house. That's how we do that. So he's going to have to just reach out to you and figure out what the closest location is that has Busch Light Apple closest to Omaha.
You'll obviously pay somebody to go get it.
Yeah.
Of course.
There. Hell no. Listen, I'm here. I'm trying to help out my training partners, okay? They need some extra cash. I need Busch Light Apple. I feel like we got a way to solve this problem for both of us.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
All right.
Win-win.
I think
All
that's
right,
it for this
Billy,
week.
I'm getting out of here. I got shit to do.
Gotta mow the lawn.
I mowed yesterday.
Oh.
I just have things to do. So I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I appreciate you. Make sure you don't forget to tell your mom happy belated Mother's Day.
You got it.
I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, like, share with your friends, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week. We partner with HomaFight Picks to get you the most accurate and well-researched fight predictions. They do all the legwork so you can focus on winning. Picks will be sent directly to your phone via text or email. It's totally up to you. The second we upload them. Use code Lionheart to get 7 free days at winnable.com/HOF picks. That's WINIBLE.com/HOF picks.
Smith.